Segment, we're excited to have filmmaker and author Kyle Newman with us. He is one of the authors of the new book, Dungeons and Dragons, Art and Arcana, a visual history which covers the history and evolution of, you guessed it, Dungeons and Dragons.
All right, welcome, Kyle.
Thanks for having me. How are you?
Absolutely. So give us a general overview of Dungeons and Dragons in case our viewers are unfamiliar.
Dungeons & Dragons has been around for 44 years. It's a tabletop role-playing game, and it's the one that started it all. So whenever you think of getting together with friends to role-play games, it all started with D&D. Everything that's come out of it, games like Zelda, Fortnite, you're playing games, all types of games, all had its roots in the mechanics and the ideas of experience and leveling up that started with Dungeons and Dragons. And it's permeating culture right now because people are watching Game of Thrones and Lord of the Rings and Harry Potter. So people are already, they're already fans of this kind of stuff. So I think that's why the game's doing so well now too.
Right. That's awesome. Can you tell us more about the book?
Well, the book is an oversized, almost compendium of all the greatest art and artists, but it's not just art. It's ephemera, it's merchandise, it's products, it's advertising, it's toys. So it's the visual language of the brand. It's the whole history. And we curate you from the beginning before it even started up through present day. So you get a full spectrum of how the brand has evolved and what its cultural influence is on pop culture and what it's been like on other games and on media in general.
What inspired you to write this book and to curate this experience for viewers and readers?
I'm a lifelong D&D fan. I was into it before I could even play it. My older brothers played it, and I lingered around like Elliot and E.T. watching them play. And then later on, I got to play it, and it had a big effect on me being going into film, becoming a storyteller, because it's a rule set and a game that inspires imagination. You can go do whatever you want with it. So there's a lot of freedom in it. And it's just something that always stuck with me. And I got back playing again after I started a family, and I was in the house all the time. And I was like, let's have people over and play some games. So I started playing again in 2015, and I just fell in love with it all over again. But I was looking for the book. I was like, where's the book that tells the history of everything I missed? Because I wasn't playing for the last 10 or 12 years. Like, what did I miss? And there was nothing there. So I said, well, I'm going to make the book. And so I called up another author who I was friends with, and I liked his prior book, which was on the history. It was a biography of the man who created it. And I said, let's collaborate on this. And then we expanded our team, and we decided we're going to make this really special, definitive history. So if you love fantasy art and if you love Dungeons & Dragons, there is something for everyone. It's so cool.
I can only imagine that the process and research process was really fun because you're researching the history of a game. How long did it take you to really capture each moment and each piece and component?
It was a 2-year process. Hundreds of them, almost 1,000 images were licensed. And it's definitely bigger than what we even promised them. We just went all out. So it was a true archaeology process. We had to track down private collections, and we tapped into Wizards of the Coast. They're the current maker of the game. It's a division of Hasbro. And we tapped into their archives, and they were a true partner in this for us, letting us really showcase this wonderful history of the brand. So it was a passion project. And I'm a filmmaker, but this was a great side project, and I got so enveloped in it. And having the support of Penguin Random House and 10 Speed Press, and like I said, Wizards was wonderful, because they said, you know what, we're going to do it right, and let's make this the ultimate guide for people.
What was it like to collaborate with all the other authors that were part of the project?
It was so awesome, because this book would be nowhere near as good if it was just one person doing it. We looked at every piece of art and every story we wanted to tell from multiple angles and shared our experiences and said, well, how transformative is this? How important is this piece? How disruptive is it? And let's also showcase the artists that people have forgotten. And 2 of the 4 founding artists were women, and the other 2 were teenagers. So no one knows the story of the original artists that designed the game. And we're shedding light on some really wonderful things, because we all put our heads together like a Dungeons & Dragons party. Everyone filled a role in the group. We were able to take it to another level. So that was really special, and we just formed a great bond.
Here's something that's really interesting. We saw a tweet this week that said when Dungeons and Dragons is back on the cover of The New Yorker, geek culture has won. Do you think this is true? Oh, he's cheering. So you think this is true?
I think so, but I think everybody has a bit of a geek in them. You're into fantasy football. Guess what? You're crunching numbers. You're getting in there. You're getting around. You're talking fantasy back and forth. Everyone wants to express what they love, and Dungeons and Dragons was stymied by a stigma for a long time. We're like, oh, you have to be a nerd in a basement. And right now, it's half women playing. People from all backgrounds and cultures are playing. It's a global game. It's in the midst of its biggest year ever. Last year was even bigger than the prior year. It just keeps growing. And I think people want to connect. There's like an analog element to the game where you sit around at a table and you collaboratively storytell. And it's pencil and paper. So you put your phone down. You're not getting those updates saying, oh, you've been on your phone 6 hours today. You forget about it.
Right.
And you form a little family and you go tell the story together. And I think that's responding with people. So it's a really magical thing right now.
And in a sense, the book will bring people together. So it's like a conversation piece. So let's take a look at the history. Let's take a deeper dive into this game that we play all the time.
It's a time machine. That's what we want. We said we want to make a time machine. So there's ads in there that'll take you right back to 1978 or 84 or mid-90s. And you're seeing how the brand thought of itself and how it needed to evolve. And it's a yearbook, too, of all these artists and people that collaborated, all the storytellers. So I do think there's something for everyone. We wanted people, like, I wanted this book in my collection, on my shelf. So I said, I'm going to go make it. And now I'm just proud that it's out there because it checked off all the boxes of everything we said, we have to do this or we fail. And we really feel like we did it all for fans.
And before we let you go, I'm really curious, what has been the response with your family? Do they love it?
My wife, Jamie King, she's into it. She played once, and then we got really busy. She went away to do this new Netflix show, but now she's back, and we're starting a group. My little boys are really into it. My 5-year-old, he's into the monsters like I was. He doesn't know how to play, but he's into, the imagination.
Yeah,
and he knows there's something fun about this game, and it's really inspiring him.
That's super cool.
Yeah.
Dungeons and Dragons. All right.
So thanks for joining us, Kyle Newman.
Thank you so much.
Very cool to learn about this.
Yeah, you also.
Take care.
Pleasure to meet you. Thank
Nice to meet you. Take care.